Hello students, in the last class I was discussing series resistor and we were able to solve a problem with series resistor. In this video I will discuss Kirchhoff's voltage law and voltage divider concept in the series circuit. Let me just refresh the formula for series circuit. Now the given circuit, there are 5 resistances R1, R2, R3, R4 and R5. And I already told you that we have to mark each resistor will have some terminal. So these are the terminals of R1, these are the terminals of R2, and these are the terminals of R3, and these are terminals of R4, and these are the terminals of R5. So if you mark the terminals, then you can clearly understand that the end point, because the current is entering the resistor in this particular point, this becomes the starting point and this is the ending point. The end point of one resistor is connected to the starting point of the other resistor. So if resistors are connected in this particular configuration, we call them, the resistors are connected in series. So the formula is the total resistance RT. So I already told you, whenever you are going to solve a series circuit, we have to draw a equivalent circuit. So this becomes our source, which is 9 volts as given in the circuit. So this is our 9 volts, it's given in the question. So this source does not know that you have connected 5 resistors. It will just know that it is a equivalent resistance RT. So as far as the source is concerned, it will see only the total resistance connected to the circuit. So how to calculate this total resistance? You have to add all the resistance. So this is the general formula. If there are n resistances, we can use this formula. In this question, there are 5 resistances. So we have to just add these 5 numbers. So when you add these 5 numbers, it becomes 90 ohms. So the resistance seen by the source is 90 ohms. And this particular circuit which I draw now, this particular circuit which I am drawing now is called as the equivalent circuit. So if you have to solve a circuit, now from this equivalent circuit we can very easily find the current in the circuit. So what is the current in the circuit? Current I in this circuit, or the source current if you want to call it, the current coming from the source is actually E by RT. So E, which is the voltage of the source, divided by RT, the total resistance of the circuit. Now I think you know the answer, because E is 9 given in the question. E is 9 and the total resistance is 90. So what is the current? Current is 0.1 amperes. So current here is 0.1 amperes. So now this clearly explains how to solve a series circuit. How to solve a series circuit? If you have to find the current, we cannot find current from the given circuit. We have to convert it to a equivalent circuit and then we can solve the series circuit. So this formula will help us. The general formula which you can apply for any number of resistors connected in series will help us to solve the circuit. Now look at this question. Again, there are 4 resistance, but what do you find? You can apply the general formula for series resistance. So 20 plus 20 plus 20 plus 20 will become 80 ohms. So this is, here I have applied the general formula. But there is another easy way to solve this question if you have found that all resistances are of the same value. So if all resistances are of the same value, we can very easily use this particular formula given here, where N represents the number of resistance. In this case, we have 4 resistances, so N is 4. And R is the value of resistance. So what is the value of the resistance? It is 20. So 4 into 20, 80 ohms. So whichever method is comfortable for you, you can follow. But this formula, the given formula here, you can use this formula only if all resistances have the same value. Otherwise, you cannot use this formula. Now, before I explain Kirchhoff's voltage law, you have to understand the difference between a node, branch and a loop. Very important. You have to understand what is a node, what is a branch and what is a loop. Now I'm going to teach you a branch. Now each element here. So this is a branch. R2 by itself is a branch. R4 is a branch. R8 is a branch. So if you draw a element like this, then this becomes a branch. Even if there are two elements connected together in series, so that two elements also forms a branch. So this R6 and R7 also forms a branch. So this is also a branch, and this R1 connected along with the voltage source is also a branch. So let us count the number of branches so that you can clearly understand how many branches are there in this circuit. So here this is R1 and V is one branch. So this becomes a branch. R2 is a branch. R3 is a branch. R4 is a branch. R8 is a branch. R5, R6, R7 combined they become one branch. So how many branches are there? Let us count again. One. This is a branch. This is a branch. And this is a branch. This is a branch. This is a branch. And this one is a branch. And all these three combined together becomes a branch. So I find that there are totally 6 branches in this circuit, totally 6 branches. So and then now we move on to a node. Now what is a node? The point in which this in a given circuit, let me erase them. A node is a point in a circuit where two or more branches meet together. So here, if let me mark this node as node A. In this node A, I find that there are 3 branches meeting at this node. These 3 branches, the 3 branches which I am drawing are meeting at that node. So this becomes a node in the circuit. In the same way, if I draw a point called node B, let us call this point as node B, and let me change the color so that you could understand. So here what happens, here you can see that this branch, and also this branch meet at this point. So by definition, what is a node? Node is a point in the circuit at which two or more branches meet. So if you want, we can count the number of nodes in the circuit. So let us erase it, and we can count the number of nodes in the circuit. So how many nodes are there? So A, B, C, D. So there are 4 nodes in this circuit. There are totally 4 nodes in the circuit. Now what is a loop? Now in order to find a loop, what we can do is we can just count the windows. I think you all know windows, correct? The windows is a square path like this. This is called as a window. So how many windows are there? This is 1, this is 2, and this is 3. So if you count the number of windows in a circuit, that becomes a loop. So how many loops in this circuit? Loop, there are 3 loops. But what is the definition for a loop? Loop means a closed path in which a current can flow. That is called as a loop. So whenever you have a closed path in which a current can flow, that becomes a loop. So here in this question, there are 3 loops. So I will again show you. So this is a loop 1. So if you start from this point and then you travel, the current can flow and it can come back. So this is loop 1. And this is loop number 2. And this is loop number 3. So the loop, here in this question, they have shown the purple color. This is a loop. So this particular diagram or the circuit has 4 nodes, 6 branches and 3 loops. So why I am teaching you this? Because if you have to understand Kirchhoff's voltage law, you must be able to identify what is a loop. So let us go to the next question. So in Kirchhoff's voltage law, in mathematical formula for Kirchhoff's voltage law is given here. So this is the mathematical formula. What does it say? The algebraic sum of the voltages. The algebraic sum of the voltages in a closed path is 0. So this symbol, all of you know, this is addition or summation. this represents a loop. This represents in a closed path or a loop, and this represents voltage. So basically this law states in a closed path or a loop, if you add all the voltage, now you have to be careful. Adding means algebraic sum. There is a, I will explain what you mean by algebraic sum. So algebraic sum of the voltages in a closed loop will always be equal to 0. In other words, we can also say if you are in a loop, the sum of the voltage rise in a loop is equal to sum of the voltage drop. Now in the next slide, I will explain what do you mean by voltage rise and voltage drop. There are two ways of writing KVL equation. This is one way and this is another way. I will explain both of them in the next slide. So you have to basically understand what do you mean by algebraic sum of a closed path. So we will explain. Now take this circuit. Now look carefully. Now here, if you have to apply KVL, each and every element, you have to first mark this potential. Plus and minus sign should be marked for each and every element. For source, it is obvious because the long bar is always positive and the short bar is always negative. So we can easily identify which point is positive and which point is negative. As far as resistance are concerned, sometimes they don't provide you the polarity. If you don't have the polarity, you cannot apply Kirchhoff's voltage law. So first thing that you have to do in Kirchhoff's voltage law is you have to find the direction of current. All of you know that current always starts from positive potential and then it flows in the circuits and then return back to the negative terminal. So if the current is flowing in this direction, then this point of the resistance, because the current entering point will become positive and current leaving point, so this point becomes positive and this point becomes negative. Same way, in this resistor, the current is entering in this point and the current is leaving in this point. So this point becomes positive and this point becomes negative. So this is the first step that you have to do before you apply Kirchhoff's voltage law. Each and every element in the circuit you should mark with polarity. How to mark with polarity? For source, you already know the polarity. No need to mark, it is already known. But for resistances, depending on the direction of current, you have to mark the polarity. So the current is entering at this point. So I'm marking this as positive and this as negative. So here I'm marking this as positive and this as negative. And then what you have to do is we have to form a closed loop because we can apply Kirchhoff's voltage law only for a closed loop. So let me mark the terminal. So here I'm going to just mark the node. This is A, this is B, this is C, and this is D. So I start from A, I go to B, A, B, C, D, A, and I end at the same point where I started. You can ask me, why did you mark this point A? You can mark any point as A, but the point is wherever you are starting, you have to end at that point while you apply Kirchhoff's voltage law. So these are the steps that you have to follow before you apply Kirchhoff's voltage law. So let me erase all of them and explain to you one more time. So here, let me erase. So what is the first thing that you do in a Kirchhoff's voltage law? Remember, you have to do two things. You have to mark, you have to mark the polarity for each and every element in the circuit. Next thing that you have to do is you have to identify a loop where you have to apply the Kirchhoff's voltage law. These are the two things that you have to do. So here, so this point becomes plus and this point become minus. The voltage in this resistance, I am calling it as V1. So here I am marking the polarity. I already explained how to mark the polarity. So this point becomes positive, this point becomes negative. Now all the three elements have these polarities marked. The next thing is we have to identify, we have to start at A and we have to go to the node B. Then we have to go to node C, then node D, and again come to node B. Now the next thing that you have to remember is when you go from one point A to another point B, you have to see what is the polarity. If you are moving from plus to minus, it is called voltage drop. So if you are moving from plus to minus, it is called voltage drop. For example, if you move from A to B, you are moving from positive potential to negative potential. So this is called voltage drop. If you are moving from B to C, you are moving from positive potential to negative potential. From C to D, there are no element. When you move from D to A, you are moving from negative to positive. Negative to positive means voltage rise. Now I told you I'm going to explain algebraic sum. In the previous slide, I told you there is algebraic sum. Algebraic sum means for voltage drop, we have to take negative sign. When you write voltage for algebraic sum, you have to take voltage drop as negative and voltage rise as positive. So let me explain this using an equation now. Now listen, this is very important. You have to start at A and end at A, or for you can also start at B, but again you have to end at B. So I'm just for understanding, I'm taking this point A. So I'll go from A to B, B to C, C to D, and then again come to A. So if I go from A to B, I'm moving from plus to minus, so it is voltage drop. So I have to put minus V1. See here, why this minus? This minus is because it is a voltage drop. Now I went from A to B. Now I'm going to go from B to C. If I go from B to C, again I find voltage drop plus to minus. So I have to put a minus sign. What is the voltage in this element? Voltage in this element is V2. C to D. If you go from C to D, there is no element, so no voltage drop or rise. Again go from D to A. Go from D to A. If you go from D to A, it is voltage rise minus to plus. You are moving from minus to plus, so that is why this is positive. Plus E is equal to 0. So this is how you apply Kirchhoff's voltage law in a circuit. So you have to first form a loop, and then this way of adding is called algebraic sum. Algebraic sum means sometimes you get positive, sometimes you will get negative. When do you get negative? Voltage drop means negative. Voltage rise means positive. So if you rearrange this equation, take these two terms to the other side, you get this equation. So E is equal to V1 plus V2. This is how you apply Kirchhoff's voltage law. Now, this is one way of solving Kirchhoff's voltage law. What is another way? Another way is first to put the equal to sign. There are two sides of the equal to sign. This side is called the left side of the equal to sign, and this side, whatever you are going to write, is called the right side of the equal to sign. Now, one side you write voltage drop, and the other side you write the voltage rise. So I prefer to write this side whatever voltage rise. Here I am not going to take care of the sign. I am just going to see, is this voltage rise, or let me move from A to B. Is this voltage drop? Yes, this is voltage drop. So write it this side, V1. And then come to the next element. Is this voltage drop? Yes, this is voltage drop. So write it this side. Now go to the next element. This is voltage rise. So write to the left hand side. So here when you are doing Kirchhoff's voltage law like this, you need not take care of the sign. One side of the equal to, you have to write voltage drop. So right hand side of the equal to sign, whatever element there is voltage drop, you write it. So whichever way is easy for you, you can follow. So basically equal to sign, and one side of the equal to sign you have to add all the drop. On the other side of the equal to sign you have to add all the voltage rises. So basically these two equations are the same. So this is how you apply Kirchhoff's voltage law. That is why you in the previous slide, you get two equations. So this equation algebraic sum means You have to take care of algebraic sum means you have to take care of positive and negative. Positive for voltage rise. Positive for voltage rise and negative for voltage drop. So this is the meaning of algebraic sum. But this is one way of writing Kirchhoff's. Another way, first you write the equal to sign and one side you write all the drop. On the other side you write all the rise. In this case you need not bother about this plus and minus. So whichever way is convenient for you, you can follow this. So let me go to the next slide and then teach you how to apply KVL. Now in this circuit, they are asking you to find V1 using Kirchhoff's voltage law. So what are the two steps? First step, you have to mark the node. First you have to identify a loop. So I am going to mark this point is A, this point is B, this point is C, this point is D, this point is E. Now I am going to form a loop. What is the loop I am going to form? A, B, C, then D, E, A. This is the point, this is the loop I am going to form. I am starting from A and I am completing my loop at A. See here, I am starting at A and I am completing at A. So first go from A to B. When you go from A to B, it is minus to plus. So voltage rise plus 16. Now you go from B to C. When you go from B to C, they already gave you the polarity plus and minus. So it is voltage drop. This point is plus, this point is minus. So minus V1. Now you go from C to D. Now if you go from C to D, again it is voltage drop. What is the voltage? 4.2. So minus 4.2. Now you go from D to E. Now you go from D to E. If you go from D to E, it is drop. Be careful. Plus to minus. So you are moving from plus. You are moving from plus to minus, which is drop. Minus 9. Now go from E to A. Go from E to A. There is no element. So equal to 0. So this is called as algebraic sum. So take this V1 to the other side. So it becomes V1 is equal to 16 minus 13.2. 16 minus 13.2, which is 2.8 volts. 16 minus 13.2, which is 2.8 volts. So this is how you solve a problem using Kirchhoff's voltage law. So I gave you the answer. Now determine the unknown voltage in this circuit. Now again, here we are going to apply Kirchhoff's voltage law. Same as the previous question. A, B, C, D, E. If you apply like this, E, F. Now if you go from A to B, if you form a loop A, B, C, D, E, F, A. If you form a loop A, B, C, you will not be able to find what is Vx because the CF is not part of the loop. So what you have to do is we should not form a loop A, B, C, D, E, F, A. Instead, because in this question they are asking you to find Vx, the unknown voltage, what you can do is either you can form a loop A, B, C, F, A. Form a loop A, B, C, F, A. So A to B. What is that? It is voltage rise. So it is plus 32. A to B. Now go from B to C. If you go from B to C, it is actually drop. So minus 12. Then go from C to F. If you go from C to F, what happens? Plus to minus. You are moving from plus to minus. So what is the voltage? Minus Vx. then move from F to A. If you move from F to A, there is no element. So algebraic sum of the voltage is equal to 0. So Vx is equal to 20. Take this Vx to the other side. So Vx will become 20. This is one way of solving the problem. There is another way of solving the problem. What is the other way of solving the problem? Now, instead of taking A, B, C, F, A, you can also take C, D, E. You can form a loop C, D, E, F, C. So, only thing is you have to start and then you have to end. So, go from C to D. If you go from C to D, it is actually drop. So, what is the drop? Minus 6. Why I am putting minus? Because it is drop. Now you go from D to E. Move from point D to E. Again you find it is drop. So minus 14. Now move from point E to F. If you move from point E to F, you find that there are no elements. Now move from point F to C. If you move from F to C, you are moving from negative to positive. Negative to positive means plus. So plus Vx is equal to 0. Now again you will find Vx is equal to 20. So what do you understand? Irrespective of the loop you form, the answer you get will be the same. So irrespective of the loop. So I've solved the problem in two ways. So irrespective of the loop that you have formed, your answer for Vx is 20. So what does it mean? If you take a multimeter in a lab class, if you take a multimeter and connect this is a multimeter. If you take two terminals of the multimeter, connect one terminal to this point and another terminal to this point, this multimeter will show 20. So this is the idea. So this is how you have to use Kirchhoff's voltage law. Now let us move on to the next question. Now in this question, they have not given you, this is a box. This box can be any element. It can be resistance, it can be inductance, it can be capacitance, it can be any element. But as far as Kirchhoff's voltage law is concerned, we are not bothered about the element. We should know only the voltage. So I know the voltage of the source. I know the voltage here. I know the voltage here. But here I don't know the voltage. So as always, we will proceed. So this point is A. So let us mark the nodes carefully. We will follow the same procedure. So A, B, let us mark this as C, and let us mark this point as D. Now since they have not given the polarity, we can assume the polarity for this element. Let us assume this point here, this is point A, is positive. Let us assume that this point A is positive and this point B is negative. So I'm going to assume like this and solve the problem. So again I'm going to start from A, B, C, D, A. I'm going to move in this direction. So start moving from A to B. If I move from A to B, plus to minus. So drop minus, what is the voltage? Vx. Now you move from B to C. If you move from B to C, actually you are moving from negative to positive. So it is voltage rise. So you have to put plus 2. Now you move from C to D. If you move from C to D, you are moving from plus to minus. It is a drop. So what is the drop? Drop means minus 6. Now you move from D to A. If you move from D to A, what happens? Plus to minus. You are moving from. So it is also a drop. So it also becomes minus 14 equal to 0. Minus 14 is equal to 0. Now let us solve for Vx. Take this Vx to the other side. So Vx becomes positive. And what do you get? This side it is 2 minus 20. 2 minus 20. 2 minus 20 means it is minus 18 volts. So this is the answer. Now let us discuss this minus. Why minus comes later. Now I'll teach you another way. Now instead of assuming A as positive and B as negative, let us assume, for solving this question, let us assume that you are taking A as positive. uh, yeah, last time you took A as positive, so this time you have to take A as negative, B as positive, and resolve the problem and see what happens. Now again we are going to take the same loop: A, B, C, D, A. Now again we are going to take the same loop, but now we will move from A to B. If you move from A to B, you are moving from minus to positive. So voltage rise. So it is Vx plus Vx. Why plus Vx? Because we are moving from minus to positive, voltage rise. Now move from B to C. If you move from B to C, it is rise, voltage rise. So it becomes plus 2. Now move from C to D. If you move from C to D, plus 2 minus. Plus 2 minus means drop. So minus 6. Now move from D to A. If you move from D to A, what happens? It is a drop. So minus 14 is equal to 0. Now if you see what happens, Vx minus 18 is equal to 0. Minus 18 is equal to 0. Or what is the answer? Vx is equal to 18 volts is our answer. Now what do you understand from these two scenarios? I have solved the problem in two ways. First, I assumed point A. Here I have assumed point A to be positive and I have assumed point B to be negative because they have not provided me that polarity. This is my assumption. This is my assumption. While I was solving the problem here in this method, I assumed A as negative. I was assuming A as negative and B as positive. So based on your assumption, the answer is 18. This answer is correct. The answer is correct. But what is the problem is the sign of the answer you have to consider. This negative, what does this negative indicate? That my assumption is wrong. Whatever I assumed is wrong. This assumption is wrong. So if you make a wrong assumption in Kirchhoff's voltage law, your answer will not change. Your answer is correct. 18 is correct, but the assumption that A is positive and B is negative is wrong. This assumption is wrong. And if you make the correct assumption, your answer will be 18 and it will be positive. So what you have to understand is, if they don't give you the polarity, you can assume the polarity. If your assumption is correct, you will get positive answer. If your assumption is wrong, you will get a negative answer. So negative answer means the assumption that A is positive and B is negative was wrong. So the correct assumption is A is negative and B is positive. So this is correct. So this is the correct polarity. So A should be negative and B should be positive. Now let us move on to the next topic, which is called voltage division in series circuit. Now I will ask you, how do you solve this question? Before I derive the formula, how do we solve this question? How do we solve? Let us change the color. So normally series circuit, how do you solve? When they give a circuit, you have to draw a equivalent circuit. What do you mean by equivalent circuit? Circuit with only one source and one resistance. This resistance is called equivalent resistance, R total. This resistance is called R total, and this is the voltage E. So from this equivalent circuit, we can calculate the current, source current, IS. I don't write it as IS because in series circuit, all of you know the property of series circuit. Current in each and every element will be the same. Current in each and every element. Current in each and every element will be the same. That is why we don't mark current as I1 or I2. We mark the current only as I. So what is the formula for I? What do you get for I? I is equal to E by R. E by RT. This is the current. So this is how you normally solve the series circuit. Now you know the current. Now you know what is your current. Now apply Ohm's law to resistance R1 to find the voltage across the resistance. So this is V1. According to Ohm's law, V1 is equal to I into R1. Current multiplied by resistance. So this is equation 1. Let us call this as equation 1. Now apply Ohm's law to the second resistor. What is the answer? V2 is equal to I divided I into R2 according to Ohm's law. I into R2. Now this is equation number 2. Now what will happen if you divide equation 1 by 2? Divide equation 1 by 2. If you divide equation 1 by 2, it will be like this. So what do you understand? This current and this current will get cancelled, and that is called as ratio rule. So this formula V1 by V2, let me erase it here so that you can clearly see the formula. So this formula that I've derived now, that is called as the ratio rule. So in a series circuit, what you understand is larger the resistance, the larger the voltage across the resistance, or voltage is directly proportional to the resistance. So this is called as voltage division rule or ratio rule in a series circuit. Now why am I teaching this formula? Now all these Kirchhoff's voltage law and these formula will help us to easily solve the question. Now if you understand this formula, if you know this formula, you need not draw the equivalent circuit or you need not calculate the current. Directly you can solve the circuit. So why we are studying this law is to make our job or to the purpose of solving the question little easy. You will understand that in the next question. Now here there is no way, this is the question and they are asking you to find V1, V2 and V3. They have not given you what is the current. Now how to solve this? Now since you already know the voltage rule, ratio rule. We have seen it in the previous slide. V1 by V2. V1 by V2 is equal to R1 by R2. Now we can very easily solve this question if you know the formula. Now what is V1? We don't know what is V1. So we have to keep it as V1. Do you know V2? Yeah, this is V2 and they have given the voltage across the resistor is 6. They have given you. So V1 by 6 is equal to R1. Do you know R1? Yes, R1 is 6. So 6 divided by, what is R2? R2 is 3. So what is 6 divided by 3? So V1 answer will become, what is the answer? Let us divide this 2 times. So it becomes 12 volts. So now you see, without calculating the current, I am calculating what is the voltage across resistance 1. So this I am able to do. Now I want to apply the same logic to resistance R2 and R3. So what we should do? We have to use this V2 by V3. V2 by V3 is equal to R2 by R3. R2 by R3. So do you know V2? Yeah, I know V2. V2 is 6. So 6, but I do not know what is V3. V3 is not given in the question. So 6 by V3 is equal to R2. What is R2? R2 is 3. And what is R1? R1 is 1. So what is V3? V3 is equal to, bring this 3 down, take this V3 to the other side and you will get V3 is 2 volts. So now we have solved the problem. We have found what is V3. Now the last one, apply Kirchhoff's voltage law to find E. This is the last question. last part of the question. So let us erase all these things. Now what you do in a Kirchhoff's voltage law, all of you know now. You have to form a node A, this point is A, this point is B, C, D and E. So now what you can do, you can use Kirchhoff's voltage law. So let me erase all of them so that I have some space to write it. So we have to write a loop. What is a loop? A, B, C, D, E and A. So go from A to B. If you go from A to B, it is voltage rise. So I don't know. Plus E. This is the value I have to find. Now go from B to C. If you go from B to C, it is voltage drop. So minus, what is V1? V1 is 12. Go from C to D. C to D, what is the voltage? You have to take care of the voltage. Voltage is plus to minus. So it is minus 6. Go from D to E. We have already calculated V3. V3 was 2 volts. So minus 2. Go from E to A. If you go from E to A, there is nothing. So you need not do anything. Is equal to 0. So 12 plus 6, 18, 20. Take this minus 20 to the other side. E is equal to 20. So the source voltage is equal to 20 volts. So this is how you solve the question. So I taught you how to solve the question. This now we have answered question number C. So this is 20 volts. So now you understand this circuit. Now let me ask you a question. Which of these resistance has highest value? Which of these resistance is having a highest value? What do you? The 6 ohms resistance is having highest value. So the voltage across the 6 ohms resistance will be more when compared to the other resistance. So this is the idea that we have to get from the series circuit. Now I want you to solve this question by drawing the equivalent circuit. You can also draw this question by drawing the equivalent circuit. There is another way to solve. What is that? How to solve it without using these logic? We can still solve the series circuit. Now how to do this? Go to resistor R2 and apply Ohm's law. What does Ohm's law state? Current in the resistor R2 is equal to voltage in the resistor divided by the resistance. So what is the voltage in the resistor? They have given it as 6. You know that. And what is the resistance? 3. So from this you can find the current is 2 amperes. You can find the current is 2 amperes. Now since you have found the current in resistor 2, you know that current in all the elements of the series circuit will be the same. So how to find V1? V1 is current multiplied by resistance. 2 into 6. 2 into 6 is equal to 12. So you will get the same answer that you get in the previous question. So how to find V3? According to Ohm's law, V3 is equal to current multiplied by resistance. So it is 2 volts. So it is not ohms, but it is volts. So this is 12 volts. So what do you understand? You can solve the question in any number of ways. We study these ratio rule and Kirchhoff's voltage law just to make our job little easy, and we can easily solve the circuit. But remember, in circuit analysis, we can use any logic or any method to solve the circuit. So this is the idea. Now the last idea is voltage division rule. Now what do you mean by voltage division rule? Again, I'm going to ask you to solve this circuit. How do you solve this circuit? First, we have to draw an equivalent circuit. From the equivalent circuit, this resistance in the equivalent circuit is called as R total. This is called R total. What is R total in this circuit? R total is nothing but R1 plus R2 because they are connected in series, and this is E. So what is the current in this circuit? The current in the series circuit is E by RT. Current in this circuit is E by RT. So we have found the current. Now again I am going to ask you to apply Ohm's law. Ohm's law to resistance R1. So what will be V1? V1 will be I times R1. V1 will be I times R1. Current times resistance. Same way, V2 will also be equal to current into R2. Current into R2. Now already you have found an equation for current. Now substitute that here. So what you get? So you get that instead of current, you have to put E by RT. E by RT into R1. E by RT into R1. Same way, substitute for current in this equation. You will get E by RT into R2. Now you can generalize this equation. You can write a general equation. Here I am writing only for two resistance. What happens if there are 5 resistance in the circuit? You can write a generalized equation. And this equation is called as a generalized equation. In this equation, if you put x is equal to 1, you will get this equation. And if you put x is equal to 2, you will get this equation. So this is the idea. So this equation is called voltage division rule. And you can apply this rule for any number of resistors in series. So this idea is called voltage division rule. I'll teach you how to apply this in the next question. Now here they are asking you to determine V1 and V3. So first I'm going to write the rule. Now I want to determine V1. So what you have to do? Here instead of x you have to write 1. So V1 is equal to R1 multiplied by E divided by R total. Now let us find out whether I know the value of R1. Yeah, R1 I know. Very good. Do I know the value of E? E is given in the question, the source voltage. Now, do I know the value of R total? I do not know R total. So, R total I have to calculate. So, what is R total? 10 plus 5, 15 kilo ohms. 15 kilo ohms is R total. Now, I can apply this formula. So, what is V1? Now, what we are doing? We are solving this circuit without calculating the current. That is what you have to understand. We are very easily solving the circuit. I am not drawing any equivalent circuit. I am not finding the current. Without finding the current, I am solving. So, V1 is equal to R1. So, what is R1? 2 kilo ohms multiplied by what is the voltage? 45. What is the total resistance? 15 kilo ohms. So everything is in kilo ohms. I am not writing kilo everywhere. So this becomes 3. So what is your answer? V1 is equal to 6 volts is our answer. See how easily I am getting the answer. Now how to find V3? Now in this formula, instead of x, you have to put 3. So what will be the answer? V3 is equal to R3. V3 is equal to R3 into E. R3 into E by RT. What is R3? R3 is 8 kilo ohms. So 8 into what is E? E is 45. E is 45. And what is R total? R total is 15. So this becomes 15 3. So 8 into 3 is 24. So V3 is 24 volts. So this is how you have to apply voltage divider rule to your circuit. So you can apply this formula to any resistor. Even if there are 10 resistors, we can apply this formula to each resistor one at a time to calculate the value of V1, V2, V3, so on and so forth. So this is how you find the V1 and V3. So with that, I complete the lecture. Hope this is useful for you. Thank you.